Hello, guys, and welcome back to the JGI podcast. And I'm pleased to announce today that we've got a special guest here with us today. It's FlexUTD from the United Stand. Flex, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it, man. I'm good, especially because we actually won a game. So I'm
Yeah, I was going to say, compared to last weekend, you can probably tell that we're both in a quite good mood today compared
yeah.
to
I
last.
would have declined if you not. But
Yeah. But yeah, cheers for coming on. Obviously, appreciate your time and everything. Big fan of the work you do with United Stand and on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, obviously, as we say, we're recording today's show on the back of last night's win, first win of the season, 3-0 win against Luton in the Carabao Cup. Now, because it was a cup game, we were expecting changes, and Solskjaer made 10 to his starting 11. So today's focus is just going to be looking at those players that did come in, and also whether we think certain players can break into the starting 11 for this Saturday against Brighton. But before getting into the specifics, I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on the game itself. Were you happy with the performance, or given the level of opposition, did you just find it satisfactory? What did you make of the display?
yeah, satisfactory. If you're grading it like a school grade, satisfactory, room for improvement, excellent, whatever. I think satisfactory is about right. You could even argue he wasn't completely satisfied until the A team come on. Do you know what I mean? And put the game to bed. It was full of players you could tell hadn't played in a while, similar to like our game against Crystal Palace. You could tell they hadn't played in a while for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we started well, first 15 minutes, how I'd expect. Luton on the back foot, not offering much and looking like we were going to score if we just carried on in that vein. Yeah. And after, I think Matt's shot early in the first half where he forced it for a corner, forced a save, we just dropped off. And at one point, Luton had way superior possession than us.
Yeah.
Not hurting us with every attack, but the only time they looked dangerous was from our mistakes as well.
Yeah.
It was a satisfactory performance, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. Obviously, you speak about there. Obviously, I thought the first 15 minutes were bright. We just seemed to lack that cutting edge. One thing I think which was clear was that without kind of a Greenwood, Martial or Rashford starting, just that lack of pace going forward was kind of a bit of, you saw we're struggling trying to make clear-cut chances. Obviously, the person starting up front was Ighalo. Obviously, we do know he's here for the backup role, but do you think after that performance last night, we should be in the market for a better backup striker, a bit of an upgrade on him?
Yeah. Do you know what? It was quite sad to watch, actually. It's quite sad to watch because we all kind of romanticised with Ighalo when he came, especially because of the start he had in the games that we needed him for.
Yeah.
It was almost like, you know what? Decent little backup striker who's scoring good goals, Fox in the box goals. The last game I went to away from home in Austria, which was against Linz Lask before we...
he scored that banger.
He scored that banger, and I was there, and I was like, you know what? He's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I think after lockdown, he's I think the reality started to set in. And to be fair, even with Ighalo, him only signing to January, I had concerns about that anyway.
Yeah.
Just because we're going to be in the same position in January where we're a striker down, just like we signed him. So yeah. His touch seems to have gone. He didn't look good yesterday. He wasn't very mobile as well. He looked like he was just putting a parachute on.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need to reinforce there.
Yeah, well, I think it's just one of them. Well, obviously, when we did make the signing, it's just trying to be as flexible as we can in the transfer market because it's a hard position to try and strengthen in. I just don't think Solskjaer saw it as a priority. But one place he did see as a priority was obviously the central midfield. Donny van der Beek made his first start last night. Obviously, he scored on the weekend as well. Only took him 20 minutes. What did you make of him yesterday? Because I thought he looked really sharp, kind of in that final third, roaming in and around. Do you think that's a sign of things to come? Do you think, and would you start him on Saturday on the back of last night?
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. I mean, it depends how you look at football. I mean, some people only look for the end product and some people only understand the end product as currency, whereas I don't. I kind of see things in a bit more depth than that. And the positions he picks up and on a consistent basis is very impressive. And what you come to expect from someone who's played in the Ajax academy and come through that style of football and that cultured level of approach. And his intelligence is really good. And what I like most about what he does is actually the simplicity in his game.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at how he plays. We knew that's the type of player he is. And right now he's fit and he's raring to go. And, into Brighton's game, I think he has to start. I honestly think he has to start. I know Pogba can bring his way into the game and Bruno is Bruno, but I'm not saying he should start with those three because I don't think the balance would be right. I don't think Solskjaer will do that for 1 minute at all. I can't see that happening. But the way he keeps the ball, his energy, pass and move, his intelligence, when to release the ball as well. I think he has to start here.
Yeah. So if you don't think he can, if you don't think it's right just yet to start with Bruno and Pogba, would you bring one of them out? Because I think particularly Pogba, obviously, with the word doubts whether he could even start last week, and I thought both him and Bruno did look a bit sluggish. They've obviously not had a proper pre-season. Would you just bring one of them out just for this weekend and just have the fresher option in Van der Beek in there?
I personally would. Some people may say that's mad, and it's that uncomfortable conversation that as fans sometimes we don't want to have, because we've got the love affair with Bruno and Pogba. And when Bruno signed and obviously Pogba hadn't returned yet, it was very much, oh, it's going to be amazing. And then they hit the ground running a bit, and then since then it's kind of gone a bit stale between the two. And there is question marks to whether what that balance actually does look like and if it actually does work. So for me, I would take one of them two out easily. There's no for me. I don't really mind which one. And I would do that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, however way you spin it, it's nice to have that option in there. I mean, when you're talking about them three creative players, we've not had any depth like that in the middle for some time. So kind of working back down along the pitch, then obviously the person anchoring last night was Matic. Saw you praising him a lot on Twitter, and rightly so. How important is he to this side? And I just thought, yet again, it's so simple what he does, but he makes it look so easy, and you can tell when he's not in the team. But obviously last night he looked so assured. And how important is he to our 11?
Massively. With the acquisition of Van der Beek, who's another forward-thinking midfielder. Yes, he can play deeper, and he's got the savvy to kind of, be aggressive in a tackle. He's not a defensive midfielder. Matic is the only true defensive midfielder we have. Yeah. He's the only midfielder we have in the squad who will look to calm things down, who will look to shield the back four, bring experience, bring calmness. He's the only person dedicated to that role we have. He's the only specialist. And you know what? I think he's been unfairly treated for a lot of times, and he came back after I thought he would leave going into January.
Yeah,
when he got in before he got injured.
Yeah, he had that kind of turn of form, didn't he? And he's restarted his career
after January, and nobody could really say anything. I thought he'd have to leave in the January transfer window. He probably might have thought that.
Yeah,
but he is the best player we have in that position. So for me, in a weird way, this might sound crazy, he's actually the first name on the team sheet in the midfield area. It's like you have to have him, then you can have a combination of whatever you like between Bruno and Pogba.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you in the sense that he's the best anchoring midfielder we've got. And I actually think he's the only player that Solskjaer trusts to actually anchor the midfield itself. Whenever we see Matic or McTominay, they always have to be deployed in that double pivot in the middle. I don't think either of them yet have gained the full trust of Solskjaer. And I think we're starting to get to the point of, will they ever? I think out of the two, maybe McTominay could be moulded into that deep sitting role. But I think with Fred, as much as he does have his own qualities, I think in terms of that midfield three, when you've got a midfielder that needs defensive players around him, like Fred does and McTominay, he's starting to look at it again now. Do we need another CDM to bring in and be the understudy to Matic? So it's obviously an interesting topic to look at. But again, priorities in the transfer market, that's not been one of them this summer. Maybe it will be next summer. So again, going down the list, we go back to centre-back, and behind Matic was obviously Maguire and Bailey. What did you think of Bailey? Because he's someone that obviously, he's quite a fan favourite, to be fair, online. And again, last night I thought he looked good, and when he's fit, argument could be made that him and Maguire is our best defensive partnership. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this isn't off the back of playing lower opposition. I think when you listen to rival fans or some Man United fans, like, bloody hell, it's just Luton. I think you've got to look at more context than that and look at the actual moments in the game and the actual qualities that he showed in that game, and not just in that game, that he actually possesses, and we all know he has, which is the case, which is the recovery, which is the combativeness, the strength. Do you know what I mean? Strong in the tackle.
Yeah.
So what he might lack on the ball in Lindelof, he brings in other areas. But also this myth that he's, Lindelof's way better than him on the ball and more calm and stuff. Yeah, there is a little bit of that, but it's not like Eric Bailly is horrendous on the ball and hasn't got a good touch and can't pass. Do you know what I mean? He punches quite a few balls into midfield where he can.
Yeah.
So I think he complements Maguire more. I said it today on Twitter. Ollie, I know there's question marks over Bailly's fitness. There always is, but maybe those question marks is because he hardly ever plays, and he needs to be a player who actually plays consistently. So for me, I would just play him. Just play Bailly. When he gets injured, deal with it then. But just play him now. Him and Maguire.
So it sounds like your consensus is then, if Bailey and Maguire fit, that's our strongest partnership to go forward.
Yeah, it's our strongest partnership, 100%.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people agree with you as well. I think the biggest weakness with Lindelof is playing against them pacey players that like to hit him behind and attack down the channels, and he gets caught out one too many times for me there, and it was frustrating to watch against Palace because, you know, when you've got the likes of Zaha starting against you, I think if you're Manchester United and you're seeing teams, yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, wasn't it? I think when you've got a defender that opponents are specifically targeting, then, you know, you need to look at that and address it in the market. So I agree with you. I would start Bailey on Saturday as well and try to keep that momentum. But also on the topic of centre backs, would you look to invest in one this summer, or would you rather us go for a left back? Because it seems to be one or the other, doesn't it?
We've got to get a centre back, bro. We've got to get a centre back.
Yeah.
Like even potentially over Sancho. Like we need a centre back badly. And I mean that in context. I'm not saying that Sancho is not important, because he is. I'm not saying that Sancho doesn't fit the bill, because he does. But with the way that deal seems to be going, I'm in a 0% club, mate. I don't think he can come.
Have you lost faith in that deal then?
No, I've got no faith in that deal. I don't think Man United are going to just write a cheque of £109 million after waiting out this long. And if they do, it's a disgrace, because they should have just done it. Do you know what I mean? So if they are going to get him, it will be because Dortmund finally accept what Man United are trying to put down, or get a bit closer to it. But back to the centre-back thing, we've got to get one. Like I said, out of what we have, I'm saying play Bailly. Whether there's longevity in that in general, I don't know, because there are the issues of fitness. You know, you might get the next 10 games out of Bailly, then he is probably going to pick up that calf or that hamstring injury. So we got to get a centre-back. We do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he should be up there as well on the list. But it does, I'd say it's one or the other. It does actually look like we are going to sign a left back. Obviously, promising news with Alex Telles. Do you think that's a smart addition, or do you think, because for me, he's obviously very good going forward, Telles. You know, you look at his numbers and it's quite ridiculous for a left back, but some questions over his defensive game. But again, it's just one of them positions, a bit like centre back, where any addition at this moment will do. It's going to improve our options. When you look at Williams there last night, I thought he really struggled, especially going forward. So do you think Telles would be a good addition for us then?
I think he'd be a good addition. I mean, if you take out the word priority and most important area to strengthen, let's leave that aside, because it probably isn't, because you've got Luke Shaw there. But I always say about Luke Shaw, I think we need better left backs than Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw is our best left back. I think he is steady, and defensively he's very sound. He doesn't normally get dribbled past very often.
No.
He's going the other way. And Alex Telles does look very aggressive, will get you assists, does look to beat the man and cross, which Luke never seems able to do. He looks very athletic, Telles. And fullback is that weird position now in modern football where you can get away with not being that great defensively. If you're an aggressive fullback, you force your opposite number back more times than not. Liverpool, yes, technically Robertson is actually good defensively and going forward. He's a rare picking. The same with Andre Davis. But most attacking fullbacks kind of might lack defensively. But the way that their team plays, they're putting the opposition number under such pressure that they don't get called into action that much.
They don't need to defend, do they? Because if you're seeing the ball for 60% of the game, then you probably have to defend times in the game. But as you say, if your fullbacks are pushing up. Yeah,
exactly. You just have to be good positionally, and you know, if you're quick, you should be okay in one-on-one situations. So yeah, I like the look of that signing. Yeah. If it happens, yeah.
Yeah, decent. So obviously part of the back line last night obviously was Dean Henderson as well. Made his debut for the club. That was obviously great to see for him. What did you make of his performance? Because I thought he looked very composed, assured, and I know obviously we're only going off against Luton, but he did everything that was asked of him. What did you make of his display on his debut?
Yeah. What I liked most about it is he showed that it's a big contrast from Sheffield United to Man United. And I don't mean just pressure. I mean, in a game of Sheffield United, a lot of the time, he's going to get called into action a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to drift through games as easy as that in the Premier League, because we know that's not the case. But he showed that he can be out of action for a long period of time. And when called upon, pull out a big save. A big save. That really was a big save. Crucial moment, because if that goes in, we lose our confidence. It's near the end of the game. Probably don't score again. It goes to penalties, and then he's probably got even more pressure on him. So big save. I did like that. It looked comfortable on the ball. Came for a few crosses as well. Difficult to judge it totally against Luton, but it was a good debut for him. It really was. So yeah, I liked what I saw. I wouldn't start him though against Brighton. I still think De Gea should be number one. I've always said that. I just think De Gea should be genuinely challenged, and I think Dean Henderson will give him a genuine challenge. And now it's for De Gea to show that he can up his level And if he can't, then Dean Henderson comes in. I did make a prediction that I think Dean Henderson will finish the season number 1.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts as a whole, because when I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, for me, I was a little bit skeptical about having 2 number 1s, because, for example, Dean Henderson for me couldn't have done anything more last night. He did what was asked of him and he played really well. So at what point does he step up and make his debut for United in the Premier League? Do we have to wait for De Gea to make a mistake? Because then if that's the case, is that a good message to send to De Gea that, look, if you make one mistake, you're out of the team? So I'm just wondering, if you are predicting Henderson to take over, do you think we're just waiting on De Gea to carry on making mistakes and then we'll bring him out? Is that kind of how you're expecting it to play out?
Weird situation, because the keeper's such a unique position.
Yeah, exactly.
The keeper is one position where, unlike outfield players, I don't think keepers work well with, and defenses don't work well with, I'm going to give this guy a run of games just to see how it goes, and then I might change it next game.
Yeah.
Keepers will be playing games. But for me, I think we're in a unique situation because De Gea has had it so easy for so long. We've had no choice but to bring in top-notch competition, and not just top-notch competition, someone who Ollie himself has said is going to be future Man United number 1, is going to be future England number 1. So he should be with us. I get it. It probably will be at the detriment to Dean Henderson, because he could have been out playing Premier League football. Let's face it. We could have loaned him to Sheffield United, keep him playing, and wait for De Gea to kind of get a little bit older, run down his contract a bit more. Because we've just given De Gea a huge contract, and we can't forget the investment committed to De Gea. Although we've thought longer term, giving Dean Henderson a 6-year deal at 120 grand a week. So it is, to answer your question, it is a little bit of De Gea, let's wait for the next time for you to mess up, unfortunately, because I don't think you just bring Dean Henderson in and throw David De Gea out. Because once you do that, David De Gea is gone. And who's going to De Gea right now on 350 grand a week? Do you know what I mean? So he needs to be number 1. But if he's not at it, there's genuine competition. Whereas with Romero, we never really did get that. There was never a true time where Romero was going to displace De Gea in the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. And hopefully it will elevate De Gea's performances. Kind of similar how hopefully we're going to see, as we mentioned about Van der Beek and Matic and Bruno. You've got players breathing down your neck. It's good to get them options in. Obviously, that is why we're also frustrated about how no other signings or no other areas of the squad are being addressed this season, because you talk about getting Sancho in and a left back, and all of a sudden, we've got two players competing for 5 or 6 different positions there. So obviously we've touched on Telles, touched on Sancho, and I think out of everyone that started last night, we've pretty much addressed the realistic contenders for Saturday. I don't really think Mata or Lingard are going to be knocking on the door just yet. So last night's covered. I've got you. I'm just wondering, after looking at these 2 games, what's your prediction for the season? Then do you think it's just going to be a top 4 finish, or are you a bit more optimistic?
It all depends on the transfer window, mate. It depends further. Because if we do get Sancho and then a decent centre back, it can change what it looks like. It really can change what the outlook looks like. But I think with where this team's at, and sometimes they struggle with consistency. I ended the season last year just having a bit of inquest with myself. I like to have uncomfortable conversations with myself as a Man United fan, because
you need them.
You need them. When you go on a good run, it's so easy for us all to get stuck into Bruno's the best thing since sliced bread. Rashford is the best. Martial's the best. Pogba's the best. Oh, we're amazing. But in reality, I just think we gas a lot of our players up to be better than they actually truly are. We've got a lot of very good players, but I don't know if we've got a lot of great players. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And mixed in with Ollie, still learning on the job. He's got issues as well. I think it's probably going to be another battle for 4th as it looks now. As it looks now, it'll be a hard battle for 4th. You bring Sancho and the centre half in, and maybe Telles if you can get 3 signings, then you're looking to close the gap. I mean, look, I said this season could be one of the only seasons where we could finish 3rd again, and it could actually be progress depending on the gap between us and the top.
Definitely.
If we close that gap to 10 points as opposed to 30 odd from Liverpool, and finish 3rd and win a trophy, it's progress.
Yeah, I think that's the key word.
$100 million on Jadon Sancho, you're going to start expecting to creep up the table significantly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you nailed it on the head with that word progress, because since Solskjaer's come in, I've been very, I've praised him really, because I think what he's done with the squad in the dressing room, he has started to rejuvenate it. And obviously obviously finishing 3rd last season was a big step up from what we have been achieving. This summer was the perfect opportunity to smash our targets in, 3 to 4 players, elevate the quality again, and then we can close the gap on the top 2 with players like Sancho and a new centre back. So I think that is the consensus online. So I agree with you on that point. Obviously, under 2 weeks left to go with the transfer window, so that's going to be key. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up today. It's hard. It's obviously, it's hard to make a prediction when you don't know what our starting 11 is going to be.
Yeah, you kind of got to predict it on October the 5th, really.
But I think even if we didn't, top 4 would be a struggle, but that is going to be the expectation, isn't it? But yeah, I think that wraps up today's show nicely. Obviously, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate your time. It's been good speaking to you, and hopefully we'll carry on with these results from yesterday.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. Keep up all the good work as well, what you're doing, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
Cheers, mate. Hopefully get you on again as the season goes on.
Yeah, just shout me, no problem.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
All right, man.